Hello and welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everyone has had a lovely week and is ready for the weekend, or ready for the holidays, because this is the last time you're going to see my lovely face until the new year. However, Sectors Made Simple it still has some fun stuff planned for the rest of the year, and I have lots of fun information to share with you all about what the plan is for sectors in the new year, because the past 6 months have been an incredible growth of both Sectors Made Simple and our community, and we hope to continue that growth both as a company and as a family together in the new year. So let's talk first, say hello to everyone that's here. Hello, Blaze, the first one in attendance. Emelida, Anna, Kike, Erica, Daniel, Andrew, Lily. I think I said Chela, but Chela. Melly, Erica, Claudia, Maida, and Vero. Hello, everyone. So today there's no class per se. There's no lesson. I want to just use today to start from the beginning. Go back 6 months ago to where all of this started. Because Sectors Made Simple began as just an experiment. We wanted to figure out a way to use information and a way to use point and figure to make sector rotation easier. We first got started because of a paper written by Meb Faber about point and figure and with sectors, where he looked at different sectors and tried to see which sector was performing the best and create a very, very simple rule to follow. So we liked that idea. We liked the idea of taking something difficult, something complex, like investing in the stock market, where you have thousands of choices, and making it be simple, where you can follow very simple rules and be able to profit from them. Not always, because we can never promise profits, but to outperform the market is always our goal. So that's what Meb Faber was able to do. He was able to use his little process to make money and beat out the market more often than not. So we started there. We started with this idea of sector rotation. Instead of looking at thousands of companies in the New York Stock Exchange, instead of looking at 500 companies in the S&P 500, look at 11 different sectors that can make up all 500 companies, and then look at the S&P 500 itself. And use these 12 things as all of the things that we can invest in. So all of our decisions become easier, but we're not missing out on any opportunities in different markets that we may not be taking a look at. So that was where Sectors Made Simple got started. It was, how do we improve on what Meb Faber has started? And the first thing we tried doing was seeing if what Meb Faber said or his strategy still worked. And we found that after 2015, it started to lose some steam. It started to lose its strength. But what hasn't changed is that relative strength and looking at sectors as an investment category is very, very powerful. Again, we can take the entire S&P, and because we're only looking at 12 things, we can do a lot more stuff with it. We can do a lot more calculations with it. So that's where the matrix came from. It was our idea for how do we compare the market and find leading sectors. So what we did was we took our 12 ETFs, the 11 ETFs for each sector, and then the S&P 500 itself, and then compared them, where we compared one sector against all of the other sectors. So the result is that we have what you know now as the relative strength matrix, a list of who is doing better in short term and long term. We said that short term is if we are in a column of X's, and we said that long term is if it is in a buy signal. So that was the rules that we used. If it's in a column of X's, it's positive short term. If it's in a buy signal, it's positive long term. And we add them all up, and that's the matrix that we know today. And that wasn't enough, because giving information is great, but giving direction is better. So what we tried to do was we tried to take this new information and bring it back to something that Meb Faber did very, very well. Make this information usable. Give an example of how this information can be used. So that's where we went and started testing. And a topic of a previous webinar has been backtesting, where it's a process of trying out a strategy over a certain period of time to see how it has done, or how it would have done. Using a portfolio de mentiritas, we try and figure out what did the best, not in the past 20 years, but in the past 10 to 5 years, so that we know the strategy works, it's easy to follow, but it gives results. It will not always beat the market, that's impossible, but it will outperform the market more times than it doesn't. So that was what we tried to do. And that's where we came up with a strategy that many of you know today, which is positive trend of 5 or more and an X count momentum of 2 or more. The best period that we can look at that is in the 2 weeks. So that was our first suggestion, or our first strategy that used the matrix. But what has come out of it is incredible, because we have made it not just about the information on the matrix. We've tried to add in other pieces of information that myself, my mom, or other of the beta testers have used, and that information was important and helped them. It was information that they were using to make their decisions. And before I go any further, Sectors Made Simple made its launch in July. July 1st was when we made Sectors Made Simple public for people to buy. But Sectors Made Simple as a group started off before then. Back in March, lockdown happened, but it gave us some time to work. So what we did was we went to work. We tried to create what we thought people would want, and then with the help of some incredible people, we were able to make the matrix become what it is today. So I want to give a special thank you to the group of beta testers who really is the reason that the matrix is what it is today. So a special thank you to some familiar faces that you may know: Mayra Gonzalez, Berta Velita, and Vero Guevara, my apologies. These 3 powerful ladies have not just given Sectors Made Simple ideas and direction, but they have become everyday users of it. They have made this tool what they want it to be. Not what we want it to be, what my mom and myself and Nate want it to be, but we wanted it to be something that other people could use with information that they want. And then another name I didn't say is Joe Sedeno. He was super helpful in terms of giving a lot of direction in how we present this information and how we support this information, because the matrix is great, but the lessons that we provide around the matrix is just as important, if not more important, because learning how to use the matrix is learning how to invest using a strategy and creating your own strategy. But something comes before that. It's learning what investment means. It's learning what risk is. It's learning what a stock is, what an ETF is. So that doesn't just appear. That needs to start somewhere. So all of these powerful people were influential in making and providing direction for what we've accomplished. So we've had some incredible experiences along the way. We've made some incredible friends and family, people like Meli, and many of the faces that I recognize in the webinars every single week. All of you have been a part of making Sectors Made Simple possible. Many of you have asked, hey, I want to learn more about Bullish Percent, or hey, I want to learn more about mutual funds. That, hey, I want to learn about this is incredible because, again, I can only think of what I would want to know. But when I hear from you all about what you want to learn more about, that is incredible because then if one person asks it, 5 others are probably thinking it. It's like in class where the teacher says, okay, does anyone have any questions? And a couple people in the class are saying, I want to think of this question, but I don't want to ask it. I don't want to sound silly, or I don't want to ask it. It seems too easy. Then there's the one person in the back that raises their hand and says, hi, I have a question. So-and-so, whatever the question is, then half the class is thinking, shoot, that was my question. That is so important because then everyone is learning together. That one person that raised their hand asked a question that many people were thinking about, or a question that many people didn't even know to ask, but the answer can benefit everybody. So that is why we have been able to do webinars for the past 6 months. I think we've only missed a week or two in the past 6 months of webinars, which is over 25, almost 30 webinars for both free members, or for free users, such as these Friday webinars, as well as members, where we have just as many, maybe 2 or 3 less, members webinars that anybody that purchases a Sectors Made Simple subscription can go back and start learning. There are little courses, I'll say, about taking you from knowing nothing to being able to create your own matrix. Then there is other parts that are all about learning what BPI is, showing what BPI is before we even had it on the matrix. So all of this has come into our fold and really made Sectors Made Simple not just a website, not just a dashboard, but a community and an education platform. So, and oh my, Magnolia, I'm so glad you're here. Magnolia is incredible. We have been able to translate our entire website into Spanish, and every one of our newsletters is in Spanish because of that lady right there. She does all of our translations for both the website as well as our newsletters, and I would like to think that my Spanish has definitely improved, but her ability to take my English ramblings and turn it into Spanish content is incredible. So a special thank you to Magnolia as well. So all of these people are so amazing because we've created a community. It's not just me. It's not just my mom. It's not just Kira. It's all of us. And all of us do our part to make all of this happen. So today, I'm going to start by going through the matrix, looking at the matrix, showing you what it's all about. Many of you are already familiar, but I want to make sure that everyone gets to see the matrix in what it is today. Then, I'm going to go into what we've been working on. What are we working on right now? And Pablo, one of the things that we're currently working on is the app, so more information on that here shortly. And then at the end, I'm going to go through what we will be doing in the next 6 months. Because it is the end of the year, holidays are coming up, so we will not be doing webinars for the rest of the month. The Inversores en Sectores classes will be continuing through the end of December. But for the webinars with Kira and myself, this will be the last one. So, without any further ado, let's get started. I want to again walk us through the matrix as it looks today, 6 months in, and then be able to share with you all what we're working on now, one of which is the app, and then what we're working on next, because what we're working on next is the next part of our attempt to give you strategies that are easy to follow, simple to understand, but powerful nonetheless. So as I'm going through today, I'll be keeping an eye on chat, and Kira will be keeping an eye on chat. If you have any questions, does not matter if it is relevant to what I'm currently saying. It doesn't matter if it's about what I'm talking about. Feel free to ask. I'm here to answer your questions as much as I am here to show you what I want to go through. So without any further ado, let me just pull up the matrix on my other screen here. Alrighty then. So, matrix time. This is the Sectors Made Simple relative strength matrix. It first started off by just being this top little table, where it tells you a number of things. Each one of these boxes, and there's 132 of them, each box tells you the relative strength chart for that specific thing. So if I were to say take XLE, XLB, PX, I can go over here to stock charts. If I can type. And I can look at the chart and say, all right, it's in a column of X's and it's in a buy signal. So positive trend, buy signal. X column means that we're, well, in X's. So that's where PX comes from. So every day, the matrix goes through and creates 132 tables just like this. And then says, is it in a column of X's or O's? Is it in a buy signal, positive trend, or a sell signal, negative trend? And then, once we have 132 of these, we add up all of the X's and all of the P's. So what we get is this X count column, all of these numbers, are all of the X's across the row added up. And then the positive trend is all of the P's added up. So this is where we started. It was short-term performance, so short-term strength, and long-term leadership. Put together, we can add them up and see who our overall leaders are. So you can do three things. You can look at who is the strongest right now in terms of just today, strength. That is the X count. You can look at who is the long-term leader, who has created long-term strength. Then we have the positive trend. If you want to see both and you just want to see who the leader is overall, we have the total count, which is the X count plus the positive trend. So what you end up getting is something like this. Right now, the short-term leader is XLE. Behind it is SPY and communications. If we sort by positive trend, the story changes a little bit. Here we have XLB and XLE both have 8, with SPY close behind, and then communications, industrials, and discretionary behind there. So that was the first pass. This is what we created, and this is what we gave to the beta testers when we said, hey, what do you think of this? What other information do you want? So we gave them this, and we said, run with it, see what you want. And the first thing that they wanted was, well, I can see who the leader is today. Because remember, all of these charts, all of these numbers are for today only. Yesterday, the chart looked a little bit different. 1 week ago, the chart looked even more different, so on and so forth. So what we did was we wanted to see how these charts, or how our strength, has changed over time. I don't care who the short-term leader is today. I want to know who is improving, who's catching up. They may not be the leader today, but they could be the leader tomorrow. So I want to see who's gaining ground in the short term. So to do this, what we did was we created the momentum table. The momentum table is where we show how our current matrix has changed compared to the last matrix. So we did that. Down below, you can see the previous matrix. And then the momentum table will show you how the new matrix has changed compared to the last. So let's take a look here at this X count, this -1. If we go up here to technology, we see technology has the number 7 in X count. We have a -1 here, which means that this is 1 less than it was yesterday. So our X count for technology from yesterday should be 8. And there it is. So that is a very simple example of momentum. Let's now look at the 1 week momentum. Okay, a little bit more action. A little bit more action. And Lily, it's incredible that you are here learning alongside us. If you have any specific questions, please shoot me an email at support@sectorsmadesimple.com. This kind of stuff I present on, but I love talking about. So any questions you have, I would love to answer in detail over email. So if you have specific questions that you don't want to ask here, you can always shoot me an email and we can have a conversation over there. So this is the 1 week momentum. So we can see energy gained strength in the last week. SPY gained strength. Communications, real estate, and discretionary lost just a bit. How about 2 weeks? All right, we have a little bit more action. How about 1 month? Now we have a lot of changes. We can see communications has gained a lot of strength, mostly in the short term. So as technology. Utilities, however, is the standout here, where we see that they have lost positive trend and X count, going from a total count of 12 to a total count of 1. Siempre un placer, Ana. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. So this was the first thing we added. We added momentum so you get to know who is the leader today, but who might be the leader tomorrow because they're gaining strength. And that is where our first strategy came from. We took momentum from 2 weeks and we wanted to find a sector that had an X count of 2 or more and a positive trend of 5 or more. XLV is here. So right now, by our strategy, we would say that there is no opportunity. There is no leader. What do you mean? We have leaders. We have this whole list. Well, this strategy works like this. It works. We want to see short-term improvement. So we want to see that it's doing better and better in the short term. So that's why we use the X count momentum. But we want to know that it has a strong backbone. We want to know that it still is very strong in the long term. It's not just having a good day or a good week. So that's where the positive trend comes from. So we have our 2 things, our short-term improvement and our long-term leadership. And that is what we said is the sign of a strong sector. So that was where this all started. we were able to take this to the beta testers and show them what it looked like. So then they said, that's great. We love being able to see who the strategy says we should buy. But what if you just want to follow point and figure? What if you would rather sort by total? Say, all right, XLE has the highest total count. Well, then if you wanted to go off of a buy signal, which is our double top or triple top breakouts, you would need to go over to stock charts and type in XLE and so on and so forth. So we wanted to make that simpler. So what we did was we added our point and figure charts for each of the sector ETFs and for the S&P ETF itself. So on the left here, we have the price and daily change for every single sector that we look at. So if I want to see the chart for XLE, if I click here and scroll down, we can see the current chart for XLE, and we can see that it's currently on a double top breakout. So this was where everything started to come together, because it was where we really tried to create something that you can get. Not just getting all of the information you need is difficult, but we tried to give you information that you may want, and also we wanted to try and give you information that no one else has or no one else gives you. So point and figure charts, yeah, you can go over here to stock charts and you can get your point and figure charts. But the real value came in what stock charts does, what we wanted to improve on. Bullish percent index. Bullish percent, as we've talked about in previous webinars over and over, is a great way to see the risk of a market. How much risk is there? Is there opportunity? And if there is, how aggressive can you be? Can you be super aggressive and go after the sector with a lot of potential, or is that potential running out and you may want to play a little bit more defensive? Well, that is where all of the ladies that I talked about before showed us something incredible. They showed us a spreadsheet on how they use the matrix. And the biggest thing that they had that we didn't was bullish percent. So we wanted to look at adding it. But stock charts, you know, if we go over to stock charts, to charts and tools, and scroll down, candle glance, you guys have seen me do this a million times, you can get all of the sector bullish percents. So why did we go through making this table? Well, two reasons. One, it's a little bit nicer to just look at the bullish percent and the column. So are we in X's or O's? And what's the current percent at? We say anything above 70% is considered to be overbought, which means that it's running out of steam. Anything below 30% is oversold, and a reversal below 30% is a very good sign. So we wanted to make that simpler. Instead of having to look and be like, okay, that's a sell signal, but the sell signal was back here. That's a buy, but it, so on and so forth. We wanted to make it simple. So we gave you the percent and the column, but not just for the S&P 500. It works if you want to just look at the S&P, but there's one problem. Not all sectors are made alike. Some of these sectors have over 100 companies in that sector. Others have less than 30. So what happens when you try and make a percent out of 30 companies? Each company is about 3 or so percent in itself. So 2 companies going in the opposite direction will cause a reversal. It's not very helpful. And you can't say that those 20 or 30 companies represent that sector as a whole. Because we only here look at ETFs that invest in S&P 500 companies. But the matrix is more than that. It's about finding a leading sector, so then you can go use something like Finviz, Finviz's stock screener, to find leading companies with strong fundamentals in that leading sector. So we wanted to give you more information. So all of these bullish percents that you see, these are for the entire New York Stock Exchange. So every single day, we go in to every company in the New York Stock Exchange, see if it's on a buy or a sell signal, and then create these bullish percents from scratch to give you not just the S&P 500, but the entire New York Stock Exchange. So then you can look at this BPI and find where the opportunities may be, not in the S&P, but in the entire market itself. Because sector rotation is only the start. What you do from there, whether it be looking at subsectors or industries, or if you want to go apply something like Be a Profit to all of these companies in the leading sector, you can do all of that with ease and with confidence. So that is where bullish percent came from. But some of you guys like numbers and data as much as I do. I hope so. I love data. I'm a nerd. So we wanted to give you these charts too. So if you click here on BPI charts, you can then open up any of these BPIs. So now the chart down at the bottom is the BPI for that industry. The percent and the column put all on the matrix in an easy to understand and simple way. So that is where we are today. That is what the matrix looks like. That's the information it provides. And our webinars over the course of the past 6 months have taught you where to go from here. You can do fundamental analysis, and we have videos on that. Or you can learn more about what other ETFs there are that invest in the same sector. We have some videos on that too. We have videos on just about anything and everything you could hope for in the world of sector rotation. And if there's something you feel like we've missed, let us know, because it may be the topic of the next webinar. But that is the last 6 months. It has been creating this and bringing it to all of you. So what are we working on right now? Well, in the past few weeks, we were able to put our website live in Spanish. So if we go here to the website and you click on this Spanish flag, our entire website becomes Spanish.
Oh, your video is covering.
Oh, the video is covering it. This Spanish flag right there. If you click on that, the entire website will become Spanish, which is super helpful in making sure that the information you want is in a way that you can both understand and make the most of. And again, all of these translations were done by one person, Magnolia. So again, thank you for making all of this possible. So that was the past 6 months. The last thing that you all have seen from us is the Spanish language video and Spanish language website. Vicky, if you're having trouble with the video quality, down in the bottom right, you'll see a little cog. You should be able to change the quality there, but it is also based on your internet. So if your internet's being a little, you may have a little bit of trouble, but give it a shot and let us know. So what are we working on now? Right now, we're working on two things. We are working on making the dashboard easier to use. So the dashboard right now, you can highlight one box at a time, and all of the charts you have to choose from over here on the left. It works, but it's not intuitive. It doesn't make sense unless you know where to look. So the first thing we're doing is we are rebuilding the entire dashboard. We're taking all of this, throwing it in the trash can, and then creating it again. It will look just like you see it right now, with a couple of changes. One, you will be able to highlight, and more importantly, unhighlight, because I'm clicking and I can't unhighlight this orange box. You can highlight and deselect any boxes you want, and you can highlight multiple boxes. And you can click over here on the different tickers to see the charts. No longer do you have to click on these crazy daily price changes. You just need to click right here and you will get the chart for that sector. Just like over here for bullish percent, instead of having to select BPI charts and go down to the one you want, just click on the sector that you want to see and the chart will appear. Now, the last thing is right now, if you want to change the momentum period, you need to go up here to the top left to change it to whatever you want. So, in the new update, down here underneath momentum, you will be able to choose right where you see this blue highlight 2 weeks ago. That will become this drop down. So it will be a lot easier to find the momentum table you want and a lot simpler to understand and have it make sense without needing to learn this entirely crazy system. Thank you so much, Maria. I hope you have a lovely holidays as well. So that is what we are currently working on. And then the other thing that we're working on is the app. So right now we are waiting for Google and Google and Apple to get back to us. We want to hear from them that our app works. And once we hear back from them that the app works, we'll be able to give that to all of you. So it should be coming by the end of the year. We should have that done. So when the app is live, I will be able to send out an email to all of you with instructions and a link on how to download it for both Android and iPhone. So those should be coming just about at the same time. So we don't have to play favorites. The Apple people can get their app and the Google people, two of us, can get ours. So that is going to be coming, hopefully, fingers crossed, before the end of 2020. So that is the last big thing you can expect from us this year, is the app and then the new dashboard first thing in the new year. Then, what are we working on next? There's two big things that I want to share. Three. One is that many of you have asked for a class on, was there a question that I missed?
Jacqueline is asking about the $100.
Jacqueline, para recibir eso, por favor, envíame un email a support@sectorsmadesimple.com y puedo darte allí. Gracias. So the first thing we're working on is, many of you have asked for information on options. So that will be hopefully one of the first things coming in January. Not just information on what a put and a call is, but going into a little bit more detail about finding out the entire, about what options are, how they can be used, how you don't need a margin account to invest in certain types of options, and how they can be used to take risk and, offset some of that risk. So that is what you can expect in January. Some I'm not sure how many yet, but some of our members webinars will become options classes where we will talk about them and go into some detail. So that is what the members webinars will look like for January. Then one of the big updates that you'll see for the matrix is that we want to be adding industries and subsectors. Right now, you can know that energy is the leading sector. But if you want to find out what's the leading industry within, you kind of got to go to not Finance Yahoo. You got to go to FinViz. You got to go over here to groups. You got to go down to industry. Then you can try and figure it out from there. It works, but it's not what we would want it to be.
Jacqueline responded.
Sí, por favor. Sí, por favor, envíame un email más porque yo no lo recibí. Pienso que no lo recibí. Okay. So this is right now the best way to see all of this information. It is to go to FinViz and try and look through all of the different sectors and industries. But it's not a comparison. You're not comparing these different industries. All you're getting is some basic information. So what we want to do is we want to be able to do, just like we have on the matrix, we want to create a relative strength chart for each one of these sectors, where once you find the leading sector, you can then click somewhere and be able to see a relative strength matrix within that sector for all of the different industries. So that is the first big update that you'll be seeing for the matrix, is subsectors and industries as a relative strength chart, or a relative strength matrix, let's say. Then the second one, the one I'm super excited about, is, again, many of you have heard this strategy, X count of 2 or more, positive trend of 5 or more. And that strategy works. It's been back tested. We know that it works over time. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. All it is a strategy that is consistent and has performed well over time. But that strategy was a little, not old, but it was 2020. Next year's 2021. So what are we doing about that? We want to be able to, is there a question?
Vicky's question pops up.
Okay. So when you see the strategy, this positive trend of, X count momentum of 2 or more, positive trend of 5 or more, the next step is taking that and having it change, having the strategy evolve, where every single day the little robot goes in, takes today's information, and tries to tell you what the best strategy will be for tomorrow. So we are working on a artificial intelligence, a nice little robot of ours, that will take the matrix every day and eventually, well, not eventually, every day it will learn more and more about what a sector leader looks like and what a sector that is about to take off looks like. So the best thing we can do is train this robot. And we can and will train it with all of the matrix information. So once it's ready and we can give it to you all, you can follow this strategy as it changes over time. But what if you have your strategy? What if you think you know a better strategy than X count momentum of 2 or more, positive trend of 5 or more, What if you think you can beat that? Well, you can test your own strategies too. Can we name this robot? Yes, I will take requests for what to name this robot, and we'll have a vote to see which one we choose. So our goal with this is not to just create a robot that tells you how to invest, but create a tool that you can use to see how your strategy would have done. Maybe you think that the best thing is an X count of 5 or more and a positive trend momentum of 2 or more. That's great. But that information it's incredible because that is now a strategy that you have created. So how do we see how it would have done? Well, we'll be creating a backtesting engine. Fancy words for you tell it a strategy, it tells you how that strategy would have done over the past 15, 5, 10, whatever you want, years. So you can see, did this strategy perform well in the market recession of 2008? Did it do well during the COVID crunch of 2020? Or is it just a strategy that's slow but consistent over a long period of time? So that is what we are going to be creating and offering for free for Sectors Made Simple subscribers. You will not need to pay for it. The backtesting engine, or your ability to create your own strategies and see how those strategies would have done over time, will be made available for free to anyone that has a Sectors Made Simple subscription. From that, we will then create our little robot, and our little robot will be able to do something similar, where it'll test all of its different strategies, but it doesn't just test one. It doesn't just test 22,600, which is how many we tested when we came up with our strategy that all of you know today. It will test millions of strategies, millions of different ways to use everything that you see on this dashboard. It will not use any information that you will not have access to. It will use all of this information and be able to tell you what sector it thinks will be the next best sector. Again, this robot will not be perfect. There is no single strategy that will always guarantee you profit. But what this robot will do is it will learn from its success and from its mistakes over the past 15, 20 years of information that we have, where it'll go back 20 years ago and say, I would have invested in XLB. So then a couple days go by and it sees how its investment would have done. And it does that over and over and over the past 20 years to then say, okay, I've been doing this every day for 20 years. I have a lot of experience. And I'll tell you what, these robots are good because they can take a lot of information just like we can, but they do it with a couple less mistakes. There's no human error. It is a robot that has learned and memorized matrix information, and it knows what its best strategy is. So that the strategy it tells you and the sector it thinks will be the next leader is not a strategy that worked 2 months ago. It's a strategy made for today, because the market changes every day, and we can never know how it will change. But this robot will change every day with the market, and it will do its best to keep up with the market and make sure that whatever it tells you is using 20 years worth of research and practice for today's market. Not for yesterday's, not for last year's, for today's market alone. So, the 3 big things that we have coming up. We have the new dashboard, which will make getting your information on the matrix easier and make getting the charts that you want to see a little bit more intuitive. we will be having, as always, these members webinars and free webinars, but we will also be having our backtesting engine so that you get to test out your strategies or how you think you want to use the matrix. And then lastly, we will have our little robot that will be able to offer you a way to follow what it does. Again, it is not a get-rich-quick robot. If it was that easy to, well, here, story time. The New York Stock Exchange is a real place. It exists in New York, and there are a bunch of offices around the New York Stock Exchange. And companies, banks, investment firms, they have all paid literally millions of dollars for a one-bedroom apartment or one-bedroom office close to the New York Stock Exchange, because they all have their little trading robots too. Their trading robots don't invest using daily information. They use seconds, milliseconds. In the time I just talked or paused, it could have done 1 million trades. I'm not kidding, 1 million trades in that short time. Because all it's trying to do is make 1 cent, half a cent profit. But it does it 1 million times. If you take 1 million times, half a cent, money starts to add up pretty quickly. So their robots are insane. Those things trade every single day, and those are the closest we have to our get-rich-quick robots. But you and I don't have access to those robots. They don't give access to that. They use that for themselves. I think that's stupid. I think that information should be made useful and available, but the strategies using that information should be equally so. So that is why our robot, while we can't tell you how the robot will work, what we can tell you is what the robot thinks the best investment is, so that you can choose. Do you want to follow the robot? But always trust but verify. So then you can say, I think that this is the sector I should invest in. Hey, robot, what do you think? And you can compare what you did with what the robot says. So it'll be a great way of seeing what our robot thinks and what relative strength says the next leading sector will be. But it will only invest in the way that it thinks is best. You need to invest how and when and in what you want to invest in. So while we will be creating a robot that will try and tell you what to invest in or offer you a way to invest, nothing will ever replace how you want to invest. So we want to continue giving you information on how you want to invest and making that information easier and simpler to understand. Vicky, I saw that you were talking about how we can use the matrix. I encourage you, if you want to see it in English, the start of this webinar, I go through the beginning of the matrix, and also the first couple members webinars that we have. The one on Be a Profit is an awesome webinar.
I told her to send us an email and I'll give her the links.
So Be a Profit, that webinar is awesome. The beginning of this webinar, we'll talk a little bit about how you get started with reading the matrix. If you would like any information in Spanish, the Inversores en Sectores group has talked a lot about using the matrix in Spanish and how it can be leveraged to make profit. So I recommend going and taking a look at those webinars. The playlist is on the webinars page on our website. And all of that will help you to understand how this information can be used to make investment decisions. But that's my whole thing for today.
Now why are we taking off the rest of?
Does anybody have any questions? Anything that they want to hear me talk about? Anything in specific? Any requests? Mm-hmm. Well then, if there are not any questions. Oh, hello Alex G. Are you the one that I've been emailing with? Hopefully you are, and I'm glad that you can make it today and drop in and say hi.
Do you want to put it back on just your normal screen?
Yeah, I'll do that. So
Use your piano.
use the piano. I'm surprised, honestly, that the piano has not been packed away yet. Maybe one of these. How about this? When we reach a certain milestone of subscribers, I will play the piano. Sounds good, Vicky. I can definitely try and give you some different webinars to take a look at. If you could, in your email, say if you have any specific questions, let me know, because if I know what the specific question is, I can help give you the best information. Otherwise, I can also just send you some basic videos to get started. I'm not going to play the piano right now. That's funny. I have not played piano in months. But anyway, that is all I have for today. I'm not going to say what the milestone number is, but I will tell you that we are more than half of the way there. So when we reach that number, I will play the piano. Where's the guitar hanging on the wall? It is packed away because we are in the process of moving. So most of our stuff is already, well, not enough of our stuff is in boxes, and a lot of our stuff, and by a lot of our stuff, I mean all of our stuff will be in boxes by the end of the week. Yeah, that's funny. I'm not going to play the piano. Let's try.
Tell your mom I'm gonna start deleting her messages.
All right, but that is all the... No! No piano. It's not even hooked up. It's not plugged in. Sorry.
You have a sister. No. Blaze.
Anyway, thank you all so much for joining. This is not my sister, by the way. This is Kira, my fiance. Many of you have seen her in chat. Many of you have said hi to her. That is Kira. No, I literally don't even know anything on the piano anymore. It has been so long.
What if Kira played the piano? No.
Again, in the new year, you will hear us play the piano. Or you'll hear me play the piano at least. I guarantee you that. So, anyway, thank you all so much for being a part of this webinar and all of the previous webinars. It has been such a blast to get to share all of this information and to create this community that we have. You guys are not just Sectors Made Simple subscribers. We are all a group of friends that are all learning how to invest smarter and simpler together. We have tons of awesome stuff planned for you guys. Hopefully some meet and greets and in-person stuff in the new year. We have lots of fun things planned. So I hope everyone continues to stay around, stay with us, and in the new year, continue making investing for myself, for Kira, and for all of you simpler. Thank you all so much. A happy and a safe holidays to everyone, and we will see you all bright and early in January. Again, members, you have the Inversores and Sectores webinars to look forward to for the rest of the month. But everyone else, I will see you in January. Take care, everybody. Bye.